Fire Captain Engineering, situation critical.
All available personnel on the double. Spock with me.
Long before streaming wars and superhero franchises took over pop culture, one low-budget science fiction show quietly changed entertainment forever. Star Trek. The original series premiered in 1966 with poor ratings and an even poorer budget. Yet it managed to leave a mark that still shapes television today. Behind its futuristic vision, however, lies a long list of strange, surprising, and little-known stories that fans rarely hear about. Here are 20 fascinating facts about the making of Star Trek that prove the real story behind the cameras was just as wild as anything seen on screen. Fact number 1. William Shatner almost wasn't Captain Kirk at all. The original pilot starred actor Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Christopher Pike, a serious and thoughtful leader who fit Gene Roddenberry's early vision perfectly. After filming the pilot, Hunter chose not to continue with the project for reasons that remain debated to this day. His departure opened the door for William Shatner, whose bold and energetic performance completely reshaped the show's tone. Tragically, Hunter passed away just a few years later, never witnessing the cultural phenomenon his original role helped launch. Fact number 2. Spock almost looked completely different. Early concept art described the character with reddish, almost demonic-looking skin meant to emphasize his alien nature. However, since most American households still owned black and white televisions in 1966, red tones would have appeared dark and unsettling on screen. To solve this, the production team shifted Spock's skin tone to a subtle greenish-yellow hue, which barely registered once the show aired in color. In the end, it was his pointed ears, not his skin tone, that became his most iconic feature. Fact number 3. The transporter, one of Star Trek's most beloved inventions, was actually born out of financial necessity rather than imagination. The original plan involved showing the crew traveling to planets using shuttlecraft, but the cost of filming realistic landings was far too high for the show's limited budget. Instead, the production team created a cheap visual effect using sparkling particles filmed against a dark background and reversed in post-production. What began as a money-saving trick became one of science fiction's most enduring concepts. Fact number 4. Star Trek almost never made it to air. The first pilot episode, titled The Cage, was rejected by NBC for being too slow, too thoughtful, and lacking action. Surprisingly, instead of canceling the project entirely, the network allowed a second pilot to be made, a rare second chance in television history. Roddenberry reworked the cast and tone, eventually reusing footage from the rejected pilot in a later two-part episode that went on to win a prestigious science fiction award. Fact number 5. Actress Nichelle Nichols nearly left the show after its first season to pursue opportunities on Broadway. However, everything changed after she attended a civil rights event where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. personally encouraged her to stay, explaining how important her role as a confident, professional black woman on television truly was. Moved by this conversation, she withdrew her resignation the very next day, a decision she later described as one of the most meaningful moments of her life. Fact number 6. Leonard Nimoy initially had serious doubts about playing Spock. He worried that the pointed ears and alien appearance would make the character seem more like a monster than a hero, and feared being permanently typecast. Portraying a being who suppressed all emotion also challenged his natural acting instincts. Over time, audiences embraced Spock's quiet depth, and Nimoy's relationship with the role evolved so much that he wrote 2 memoirs reflecting his complicated journey with the character. Fact number 7. The famous kiss between Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura almost didn't happen the way fans remember it. Network executives initially insisted the kiss be portrayed as something forced upon the characters by outside influence, hoping this would make it easier for certain audiences to dismiss. However, the actors intentionally performed the scene in a way that left the network with only one usable take, ensuring the genuine version aired. The moment went on to leave a lasting emotional impact on viewers across the country. Fact number 8. Star Trek's survival depended heavily on its passionate fanbase. After its first and second seasons, the show faced cancellation due to underwhelming ratings. In response, fans launched massive letter-writing campaigns, sending an enormous volume of mail to the network and even organizing public demonstrations. This unprecedented show of support convinced the network to renew the series for a third season. Although that final season suffered from a reduced budget, it ultimately provided enough episodes for the show to enter syndication later on. Fact number 9. The original model of the USS Enterprise used during filming had a hidden flaw. While the top and sides of the model were carefully detailed and painted, the underside was left rough and unfinished, since no camera angle ever captured it. This practical shortcut saved time and resources during production. Today, the original model is preserved in a major museum, with its unfinished underside serving as a quiet reminder of the show's resourceful approach to filmmaking. Fact number 10. Despite being one of the most quoted lines in pop culture, the exact phrase, "Beam me up, Scotty," was never actually said in the original series. Variations of the line appeared frequently, but never in that specific combination of words. This kind of misremembered quote is surprisingly common across entertainment history, with similar examples found in classic films and literature. Interestingly, the misquote eventually became more famous than anything that was actually said on the show. Fact number 11. Many of the alien costumes seen throughout the series weren't designed from scratch. Instead, the wardrobe department frequently repurposed existing costumes from the studio's archives, including outfits originally used for historical and Western productions. With a few creative modifications, ordinary garments were transformed into futuristic or extraterrestrial attire. This resourceful approach allowed the show to create the illusion of an expansive universe despite working with limited materials and budget. Fact number 12. The iconic phaser weapon began its life as little more than a modified toy ray gun. The prop department adapted inexpensive plastic items already available in the studio's inventory, adding new details to make them appear more advanced. Although the props sometimes looked noticeably cheap up close, they appeared convincing on camera. Remarkably, the concept behind the phaser later influenced real-world research into energy-based weapon technology. Fact number 13. The lovable tribbles from one of the show's most popular episodes caused unexpected problems during filming. Made from synthetic fur stretched over foam, the props built up significant static electricity under the hot studio lights. This caused them to stick to costumes, furniture, and equipment, giving cast and crew members small shocks throughout production. The team had to develop special methods to manage the props safely while filming a lighthearted episode about adorable alien creatures. Fact number 14. Star Trek helped create one of science fiction's most recognizable tropes. In the show's color-coded uniform system, characters wearing red were typically assigned to engineering and security roles, often placing them in dangerous situations during away missions. Over time, fans noticed a pattern where these characters frequently met unfortunate fates. This observation eventually evolved into a widely recognized storytelling term used across multiple forms of media today. Fact number 15. Many fans assume the Klingon were always Star Trek's primary villains, but that wasn't originally the case. In the early seasons, the Romulans were introduced first and positioned as the main antagonists, representing a more secretive and calculating threat. The Klingon appeared later as a more aggressive force. It wasn't until later films and spin-off series that the Klingon rose to become the franchise's most recognizable adversaries. Fact number 17. Beneath its space adventures, Star Trek often addressed serious social issues that were considered too controversial for direct discussion on television at the time. By placing these themes within alien societies and futuristic settings, the show was able to explore topics such as racism, war, and political corruption without drawing the same level of scrutiny from network censors. This creative approach allowed the series to deliver powerful messages disguised as science fiction storytelling. Fact number 18. In one of the show's more unusual moments, the cast came together to record a Christmas-themed album filled with festive songs performed in dramatic and unintentionally humorous styles. Originally intended as a small promotional project, the recording largely disappeared for years before resurfacing through unofficial copies and eventually official releases. Today, it remains a quirky and beloved piece of holiday nostalgia among longtime fans. Fact number 19. Throughout its run, Star Trek operated on an extremely limited budget. Sets were reused repeatedly with minor changes, background extras were often crew members in costume, and special effects relied heavily on models, painted backdrops, and clever editing techniques. By the final season, budget cuts became even more noticeable, resulting in simpler productions that relied more on dialogue and ideas than visual spectacle. Fact number 20. Despite all its struggles, Star Trek's true success story began only after its cancellation. Once the series entered syndication, new audiences discovered it through reruns, leading to a surge in popularity, fan conventions, and merchandise. This renewed interest eventually paved the way for multiple films and spin-off series, transforming a once-canceled show into one of the longest-running and most influential franchises in entertainment history. From budget shortcuts that became iconic technology to behind-the-scenes drama that shaped television history, Star Trek proved that bold ideas can outlast even the toughest beginnings. If these facts surprised you, let us know which one stood out the most. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with fellow fans. We'll see you in the next one.